Voiceover, not an easy career. You have to be dedicated to learning, exploring, finding creative, innovative new ways of promoting and improving. Put in long hours, hard work, and dedication to getting the job done. And find the right tools and mix to make that happen. If you have the passion, drive, and dedication to stick to it, if you can get up each time you fail, learn from it, and keep going without quitting, then keep it tuned in here. It's time to wake the VO flock up, people, and make VO magic happen. Okay, I think I have this finally working. OMG. I do apologize. Today is apparently my tech trouble day. Yeah, there you go. Wow, what a day. Anyhow, I've made it. My chaga, peppermint tea, and I are finally here. Sorry about that. I was taking part in a challenge that took a little bit longer than I thought, but it was kind of fun to do. Anyway, yeah. So I am here to talk to you today about some voiceover, and hopefully you're going to come in and join me. Setting up the live stream. I've had a bit of issues here. And I'm just gonna, oh, I forgot to put the chat up for you. Hang on one second. Get in there and see if I can fix this. Whoa, look at my head. That's pretty cool. How did I make her do that? This little avatar thing is pretty cool to play with. I was asked how I do it. No, it is not a software. I do it through actually Character Animator, which is pretty cool. I'm having a lot of fun with that. Adobe has some really cool applications that are all bundled in its creative app. And no, I'm not paid to say that either. I just love the Adobe app. Although this girl has a head problem. Anyway, yeah. And I'm kind of fiddling around with what all's included in my suite. What program do you use out there? Are you using Adobe, Audition, Reaper? I want to know. Pop in, let me know, or if you're watching this in the replay, let me know in the comments below what DAW you are working, your digital audio workspace. Let me know. I am very interested to find that out. One of the best resources online, or I should say resource people, would be Mike Russell if you are using Adobe Audition. He is absolutely awesome, and he does have some Audacity, I think it's called Audacity tutorials as well. Sorry, just trying to get the get everything working here. Make sure everything's working. If you can hear me, let me know. Can't, let me know too. While I get this all set up properly. All right, there we go. I got that going so that I can actually see if and when anyone pops in. Anyway, voiceover. Now, what can we tell you today? Well, I was on my LinkedIn and I finally saw a post that I've been trying to get the point across to a couple of people. They were asking me about issues that they were having with dealing with some of the clients. And part of the problem is communication, which is rather odd for somebody who's in voiceover, I think, but maybe not. Speaks more to kind of society in general, I guess. And that would be people don't really listen to each other as much and as closely as they should. One of the problems in society today, at least in North America, is that people listen to respond to. They don't listen to actually just listen to the person, basically. And Gary Vaynerchuk said it very well in a video that he posted, is that one of the main problems, now he was talking about sales, but sales, voiceover, same thing. You're still dealing with your clients. You have to listen to what the client is actually telling you that they need. You don't need to give them what you think they should have. And it sounds simple, but it's just not so easy. Take, for instance, what happened to me recently. I was looking for a new writer for the Ghostly Chronicles for some of our episodes. Still looking, by the way. Shameless plug if anybody out there is a writer. Anyway, and in going through just people who write for a living, these are people who communicate for a living, just like you and I do, who are voiceovers. Sorry, I was voicing a little boy voice earlier, and hence my chaga peppermint lemon combo here. And I've kind of fried my voice a bit. No worries, I'll rest up over dinner. But anyway, back to my story. While we were looking for a writer, I was quite surprised to find the number of writers who they were basically, I think, maybe stuck in a niche as the end result. But in approaching them, I was very specific. This is what I need. This is what I'm looking for. Can you produce this? What is your cost? Blah, 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 blah. The number of people that came back telling me what I needed and extraneous costs and different things that had nothing to do with audio drama podcasting or what I was asking them for them give me. No. I was quite shocked. I'm quite shocked. And then that led me to thinking, as voiceovers, are you really listening to your client and what your client is telling you they need? And now I know on the flip side, as a voiceover client, or as a voiceover myself, clients don't always give the information that we need in order to produce the job. Why is that? Well, some of them are inexperienced. Maybe they're new to the job. Maybe they're new to the position. Maybe they just don't realize what all you need in order to get into that character for a video game, to get the feel of what direction the commercial's going in. For instance, are they looking for a read that's smooth and it's maybe headed more towards the financial sector, that sort of thing? Is it a jewelry ad? Well, you kind of know that from the text, but are they going for the high-end client? Are they going for the low-end client? Are they looking for the everyday person, or are they looking for someone who sounds smooth, sophisticated? What is it that they're going for in whatever you're voicing? And once you find that out, it's a little bit easier. Now, for video games, for characters and animation, that's a little harder. As VOs, we need to know what is going on in the scene. Noises, direction for, who you're working off of. Have a full script, not just your lines that you have to voice in the script. That's the hardest. Don't you love those when they just give you your lines out of the script? No context. You need the context to know, are you yelling at somebody? Are you maybe whispering? What the heck are you supposed to do with that? A little bit of info helps. Well, flip that around and think of how that is for your client. When clients contact you in an email, voicemail, even online, social media, wherever they're getting a hold of you, really read what their requirements are. If they really don't know what their requirements are, yeah, get into a discussion, pull it out of them. You might feel like you're being a bug or whatever. You're really not. You need to know the tools and direction to do the job the best way possible. And if you can get all that information from them from the get-go and let them know, look, I need to know these pieces of information so that I can do a job and do it great right out of the gate without having to do a lot of revoicing for you. You're going to be able to hit the ground running, put out an amazing voiceover production that is going to wow your client. And that's what you want. You want to wow them every time. And they're going to keep coming back to you again and again because they know they'll be able to get what they are looking for. So ask those questions. And what kind of questions are you going to ask? Well, again, depends on what voiceover you are producing, right? So if it's a game, ask them, what's going on in the scene? I have just my lines here. You know, if they've given you the script, what's going on? I need to know the context. Is this a first-person shooter? Am I the game guide? Am I, if I am the game guide, what kind of game guide are you looking for? Are you looking for somebody who's soft-spoken? Are you looking for somebody who's take charge kind of thing? What kind of game is it? It's kind of hard in games because I know a lot of production companies don't want to give you a lot of the information just for leakage purposes, we'll call it that. Basically, they don't want too much information about their game getting out, and that's understandable because video game industry is, well, quite sharkish, I guess you could say, for lack of a better word. Yeah, they don't want the idea getting out and somebody getting ahead of them. That's okay, no big deal. You can certainly understand that. That's where your confidentiality comes. But you need to have as much information and as best direction as possible to do what you need to do so that they can get the best out of you so that their game is going to be better and do better on the market. That is the end result. Your client's production at the end of the day. For commercials, yeah, you just gotta kind of poke at them, find out what type of commercial are we doing. Is this humorous? Is this something that you want that announcer voice, someone that's coming in and saying, hey everybody, how you doing? No. Do you want them to be just a general conversational? You want somebody who's just going to come across as if they're talking to you? Hey, that's good too. If you're doing acting, of course, that one's pretty simple, and they're more apt to give you better direction if they're just looking for an actor than they are if they're looking for somebody for commercials, e-learning, corporate narration. That in itself, and I know some of you have said, oh, it's just corporate narration, we're just going to read. No. There is a certain style for corporate narration, style for ESL, children's books, audiobooks. I've said this lots of times before, and it is true. There is certain style for each genre of voiceover out there. Now, the direction is the main thing you need. And if you have any questions during your production, don't hesitate to contact your client. I've seen voiceovers. I mean, I hire voiceovers myself, and I've seen voiceovers just plow through a job and just submit what they've done. They have not stopped to listen to the direction. They have not stopped to listen to what's going on through the scene. I give them the script and say, here's a script, here's your scene. The rest of the lines are given to you for context. They don't read the scene. You have to stop and read what you're actually reading out there, voiceovers. Because what happens is you can give a delivery on lines, but if you don't read the entire scene to get the context of what the heck is going on in that scene, you are just voicing lines, and it's going to come across as that. You're either not going to be voicing in the context of what you need to. I mean, if you're supposed to be yelling at somebody, you're not going to get that. If it's an excitement as opposed to yelling or angry, you need to be able to bring that across. But if you're just reading the line, oh, Sally said, blah, 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 no. And I've seen that time and time again. It might be partly from lack of experience. Perhaps that's it. Rushing through the jobs. People who are used to more or less just working on a lot at once and getting it out the door a little too quickly. I'd rather somebody, as somebody hiring a voiceover myself, I would rather see that voiceover take their time and do it than spit it back at me in an hour to 2 hours and have it be absolutely wrong and have to do 3 takes of it. That's the downside if you don't pay attention to what is going on. And if you don't get the information, well, so trying to hit both sides of the coin here, the amount of information you're going to get is going to be integral to the quality of voiceover that's going to be the end production, which, if you think about it, it reflects on both you as a voiceover, your company, your business, the quality that the client is expecting from you, and the client's end production. I mean, there are a lot of indie games out there, and they don't care who they got as long as they got somebody to voice the line. Let me tell you guys, that's not the way to go. It really isn't. Having somebody, just anybody, voice a line and throwing it into a video game, I've seen games haven't even been edited. I can't believe this actually happens, but it has. There are video games, there are bloopers in there. There's the voiceovers are actually put in, and I don't know why, not edited. They're put in, and you actually hear the voice person, oops, let me do that line again, or things like that in the video game. The end production that actually left the sales floor and went home with a customer, or somebody downloaded. I would be embarrassed as the developer of that leave my business. Absolutely, terribly embarrassed. And I would probably, if not wrapping the fingers of the audio tech, be firing that technician. But anyway, for leaving that, depending on how badly it tanked. But those are the type of things can happen. Now, if that does happen and a company releases something and your blips and bloops are in there and they only asked you for the WAV original file, that's on them, not on you. But still, it does reflect. So take out all of your bleeps and bloops and your edits and your whoopses and your oopsies before you send anything to a client, even if they want the original file. A word of advice. But yeah, back to the original. I do get off topic a bit. It's still all part and parcel. I wander about. I really should write some of this as opposed to keep shooting it. But I was in a bit of a rush today. Sorry I did miss yesterday. Bit of a mix up with the hospital visit yesterday. I tell you, those lineups are terrible. But anyway. Yeah, back to our question. Always feel free to email your client back and ask them what they need. If they weren't clear on a direction, now sometimes it can be a communication issue, as in language barrier. And if that's the case, you have to be very patient and very on their level to your communication in what they are trying to get across to you. Because you have to realize not everybody on the planet speaks English. And even though I've come across some VOs that think if they're contacting an English VO, they should be the person should be very well versed in English. that may not be the case. They may be in English as a second or third language. There are some people out there that speak 9 languages. So, yeah, they're going to get things mixed up from time. So if a person's first language isn't English, and you can recognize from their text that maybe they're having a little bit of an issue communicating something across, give them a few examples as to either word pronunciation or, if that's what you're looking for, direction. Give them some examples and ideas around what they might be looking for. Something that you can relate back to them. So if they're China or Japan or Russia or Ukraine, UK, well, not as much, but something you can relate to them in their area. And if you don't know a lot about their country, then that's okay too. Just do the best you can, but always be respectful of that it's hard for them. They're trying their best to communicate what they need. You try your best and very respectful, very polite back to them that you want to communicate the best you can and give them the best production, but you just need this little bit of information in order to tweak it. I mean, if it's really hard, then yeah, voice something and say, well, here's an example, and here's what I'm talking about, and send that to them so that they can get a feel for what you're talking about. It may be they just have to hear the tone. That's all. And it's been that simple for me in the past, that clients come in and said, hey, we need this. And I voice it that way. And then give them an alternate take. Because it could have been taken one way or the other. So then I send it back to them saying, gave you 2 takes on this, because if they're strapped for time, they get 2, and they often appreciate it. And actually, I found a lot of the time they will take a second take. Sometimes you can use that instead. So there you go. Now that doesn't mean if you have a big long project you're going to give them 2 hours worth of work when you needed 1. No, that's just for small simple voiceover. But yeah, that's about it. Now I'm not sure if that really answers completely the question, but I'm just kind of going off of questions that people are writing in and ideas they want me to talk about. But that's it. Communication is the biggest. You have to learn to communicate well when you are talking with your clients and trying to get the best information possible out of them. There's oftentimes scripts will come in, and yeah, they're not the clearest on what they're doing. For me, I often see it, like I said, the most in video games. It's great in games if they can give you a description. They can give you a picture of the character even. Even just one picture helps you to kind of set the tone. Directionally, if you are working with directors from Japan, China, Korea, they're over there, their communications are more tonal. So you have a rise and fall to your voice, or you're going down in tone, or you're going up in tone. And those things are very, very, very important. So working in those countries in video games may be a little more daunting to some people. But if you can get what they're saying with some of that, then that's half the battle. Even take a few language courses, or a bit of the Busu. Busu has some great languages great app that they can do to learn about languages a bit more. It may be something as simple as that. You just need to know how their language works in order to be able to voice better for them. I'm learning Mandarin myself, and Japanese. So that helps tremendously when you're working with your clients and you know how they communicate in their own language and why that language barrier is occurring for when they're trying to translate it to an English speaker. It helps tremendously, absolutely tremendously. Because when they're giving you a direction, oh, it needs to be second tone, third tone, you know exactly what they're talking about. Whereas somebody else would go, huh? What? Yeah. But not everybody has the time or inclination to do that. I do understand. But that's just one of my suggestions. Take it or leave it. And always be approachable. Always be open to your client. If you don't understand something, go back for Pete's sake and let them know. It's not that hard and they won't be upset. If they are upset, they maybe aren't a client you want to work with again. Because anyone wanting to get the best quality voiceover out of a voice artist is going to take the time to give you the direction and all of the information tools that you need in order to never, never, never feel that you are a pain in the butt or that you are not able to reapproach a client to find out better direction. Always ask them. Always, always. Don't be so shy. You are the one whose voice will be out there. You are the one who's represented by that voiceover at the end of the day. What they do with it once it leaves your studio, unfortunately in audio, if they're bad at doing it, will also reflect on you. But you can't help that. You've given them a production that is exactly spot on to what they've wanted if you can follow those steps. Once they approach you, get the information you make sure that you completely and thoroughly understand what the direction is. You understand what's going on in the scene. You understand the cadence, the tone that is required for each and every line within that scene that you need to voice, and or commercial, narration, whatever it is. If there's any questions that arise before, during, even after you have voiced this, go back to your client, find out from them what it is that they need. If you've already voiced it and you're still not sure, do a second take, give them an option. Just say, I did it this way to my understanding of your directions, and I gave you an alternate as well. They will appreciate the extra effort that you put in. And if they don't, and then they come back at you and gripe about it, again, that may not be a client you want to continue to work with. We all have to be respectful of each other, whether it's a director, a casting director, a client, the voiceover talent, another voiceover. Just got to be pleasant and happy and communicate well. And I'm not communicating well today. But those things are easy. They're simple to follow, but it's something it seems a lot of you need to have a reminder of, because what I'm seeing come through are complaints of bad communication, basically, between client and voiceover, or voiceover and voiceovers, or anything like that. But mainly between client and the voiceovers, and I can't understand why. If you're taking the time to talk about the project thoroughly, get the instructions that you need thoroughly, simply, plainly, explicitly, there should be no problem in you being able to voice that voiceover exactly as your client wants you to produce it. And if the only case I can think of is if the client thought they wanted one way and they turn around and want it another, which bonus, you get a second voicing. But that isn't your fault, because if you voiced it the first way exactly to what the client asked you to, there is no reason why they should not for that second voicing. It is not at that point a matter of revoicing and doing a correction for something that you mispronounced. Yeah, I said pronounced. For something you have mispronunciated. There you go. If that was the word, that was an example for you. If that was the word and you had mispronounced the word, then yes, in that case, you would revoice it for the client, and that would be on you, not on them. You would not have to pay for that. But if it's something in tone and quality and direction, then that is something they have to come back and say, we did it that way, we don't like it. Then they come back and you can negotiate. I mean, it's up to you. You can renegotiate or say, hey, I'll give you another voicing because I'm not quite sure this is what you want to do. Technically, I really wouldn't do it that way. I usually give them an option on my own. This is just me. I give them a secondary option. Odds are, too, your second voicing is going to be a bit better anyway, because it breaks down to actually doing the voiceover. I mean, first, as I've said before, read through it. Read, practice it, then voice it. But always, the more takes you do, the better it's going to get. Anyway, yeah, so communication is the key, people. We need to ensure that we are talking with our clients, we are getting the directions that we need, information that we need, and we are doing every day. Because you want everything to go out that door that is going to shine so brightly that it is going to be a great reflection on your client, because our clients at the end of the day are our most important thing of the day, basically. Their success, the quality that we put out for them is what needs to be number one in your mind. So if you have any questions, go back to your client. That's the simple answer to that question. And Nancy, I hope that answered that for you. That was, yeah, there you go. Hopefully that was it. But Gary Vaynerchuk, it was kind of funny. His video came up. I was speaking to somebody and poop, it popped up on my LinkedIn. So it was pretty cool. And it amazed me. It was exactly what the point I was trying to get across, but he said it a little better than I did. Just now, actually, as well. But yeah, you have to be able to listen to that client and listen closely to what they say. Don't listen to respond. Listen intently to what your client is telling you that they need, they want, the direction they're heading. That's also great for a project. Now, where do you see this going? What is your vision for the project? Knowing that is half the battle, because then you know how to direct your voiceover. It all comes down to these little things, and people are kind of look at me like I got three heads when I tell them this when they ask me in person, but it's true. It is true. The more information you have, the better you're going to be able to work with the tools you got. That's just basics, and I don't know why everybody doesn't know it, but I'm putting it out there so that everybody does know it. So there you go. Hopefully that makes sense for you. Yeah. Got any more questions and comments and things like that? Keep them rolling. Keep them coming in. I will do a video up for you and get it out there. All right. We will see you tomorrow. I have to get my butt out the door and get some more stuff done. So if you like this video, if it was helpful at all, Nancy, I really hope that answers your question. And if not, love, shoot me back an email and I will answer that for you. No worries at all. I'll help you some more with that. So don't worry. So listen, people, with your ears. Don't listen to respond. And take in all the information, and then discuss it with your client. And then voiceover. And then be the best you can be. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Everybody, get on out there. Make that voiceover magic happen tomorrow. Bye, everyone.